I think we should cast our minds back to 1 year. What were you doing this time last year?
Oh, this time last year, heading to tour school. Yeah, it seems so far away now, but obviously it's something that's just a year ago. But yeah, just trying to get back to where I thought I belong, and grinding it out and things like that. And now it's a year later, and look at what's happened so far.
It's been unbelievable, hasn't it? How
It
do you
has
describe
been.
it yourself?
Yeah, it's been a great year. I must say, it's been, if I can put it in words, it's just like a dream come true, to be honest. One thing led to another, and I think after I got the confidence and the things and all the experience from the first win, everything else just jumped into place and everything just happened. So it's just really been a dream year.
And obviously, you need to do the same next year.
I would hope so. But it's not over yet. There's still this week. It's my first time down here. Course is in great shape and things like that. And I think it is a long hitters golf course. So if you can get it out there, quite a long way and give yourself the opportunities, then you should be able to score around this place. So I think definitely, the guy's definitely going to be at the top of the week is the guy that hits it a long way and can hit the fairways and make the odd putt.
Thank you for that. Take some questions from Branden. There you go, mate.
Firstly, Branden, congratulations.
Thank you.
Assuming you've got some pretty strong self-belief, was there a particular point in time when you decided, or I guess it came to realisation that I could really mix it with the big boys?
I think after the second win, I thought the first one was pretty special because it was the first one, obviously, and then after I beat Ernie and Retief in the playoff, then I thought, maybe this is where I need to play. And then it just jumped to bigger and better things. Then the one in China, there was Paul Casey's was there and Poulter and a couple of those guys. So it just kept getting better and better. And then obviously at the Daniel, you can't ask for a better field than that. I know a couple of guys from the Ryder Cup wasn't there, which was a pity, but still just the history and the things around the event and behind the event is spectacular. So now I think this is where I belong, and this is where I can see myself playing, and maybe more on a regular basis playing in events where the top 50 in the world is at.
Joy.
Branden, we believe that you are moving to Dubai and taking the presidency over here. Can you tell us something about that and how important will this be going forward towards your destination?
Yeah, I've actually done it already. So I am a resident here now. It's been great. I must say I've always liked coming to Dubai and play here. I've been here the last couple of years, but my first real trip was beginning of the season when we came here for the first 3 in the Middle East, and it's been great. And I think this is a place where I want to establish myself, and if I have a week off, come back here and just enjoy it here. There's so much to do, and the people's friendly, and it's just one hell of a place if I can say it like that. But it's been great, and just to come back here for events like this is very special. So yeah.
Go on, Bernard.
Branden, after Mission Hills, there's a lot of suggestion about those guys closest to Rory on racing like yourself didn't play in Singapore and Hong Kong. I know you've probably got your reason, but was there a part of you perhaps thought we should go to Singapore and make it part of Rory or not?
No. I thought after Rory played well in BMW, I thought, that's pretty much it. You really have to do something special to maybe get close to the top. He's the type of player that, when he's in the field now, it's pretty much the same feeling as what the guys had when Tiger played to his peak. When he's in the field, you think he's going to win or finish top 5. So it's just one of those things. But no, I think the reason why I went home, I was just felt I'm very knackered and things. It's been a long year. I think the tide and the things caught up to me and things like that. And the fire and the things are still there. It's just when you fall a little bit behind, it's very hard to just keep fighting. So I thought it was a big need for me to head home. And obviously last week didn't go my way on the weekend. But it's something you have to look past and things like that. And it shows anybody can have a bad couple of days or a bad week, and you have to just grind it out and see what you can do the next week. And this is a great week to that. And I think this golf course, you're going to have to grind it out. So if you can just keep your form and your level, your energy levels in the right position, and the positive vibes up there, you never know, at the end of the week you might be up top there.
Is there anything that's surprised you about yourself and your game this season, how you dealt with your continued success?
I think which I've done really well this year is, everything's happened pretty much in a step-by-step order, if I can put it that way. Just getting my card was the first step. That's the first thing I wanted to do, and then the first win got there, and then obviously I didn't have a lot of time, and things has happened quickly. Qualify for the next event, and I really wanted to play well, and I crossed over another step there, and then then I had to sit down. Obviously I didn't really sit down to think of what I've achieved, but more to think of what I want to do next. And my main goal after that was to win on the international circuit. I would really wanted to win outside of South Africa, because there's a lot of stuff writes up and things saying that he might just be a South African player. He might just win on home turf, but not anywhere else. And I think that was a big step. And I think when I got that win in Volvo, then it was really the turning point for me. So now I believe that I can play, I can win. So it's nice to get the 4 wins now. The first one's going, and I'm really looking forward to what's to come.
Tony.
What's been the reaction on the 4 wins you've had this season? What sort of reaction have you got from fellow South African players like Astrid, Charles?
Everything's been great, to be honest. I had a pretty warm welcome last week at the SA Open, which was nice. Obviously, I'm not from that area, but it was nice to see the people look at you the same eyes as they look at Ernie and Charles and Louis. It was nice to get that applause, and it was nice just to know that they see it out of the same eye as what they see those guys. But all the golfers have been great. Back home in the Sunshine Tour, obviously we don't get to see them quite often, but I think I've been a great inspiration to most of them this year. Just showing that you never know what's around the corner, and 1 week can change your life out here. And I like to use that quote, because that it does change your life as much as you think it does. But Charles and Louis and them, everybody's been great. I haven't seen, obviously Retief is injured, so I haven't seen him for a while, but I get the odd message from Ernie and those guys saying, well done and things, and we all know the comment he made at the Daniel, which is nice to get comments like that from a world-class player like him. So the support's been great so far.
Just further on that, obviously they're still competitors, but your fellow compatriots, has anyone in particular played a bit of a mentoring role, or have you sought counsel from Ernie or anyone just about what to expect in the years to come, given your rise to success this year?
I would say Louis. He's been a big inspiration for me so far. And I think this year showed as well. Every time Louis won, I pretty much won the following event, which is nice, and we always have a laugh together and things like that. And after his first win at the Africa Open, he said, "Listen, you're falling behind. You have to catch up now." And then I won the second one, and then obviously it was a little bit bigger than the first. And I said, "No, you're falling behind," and it just pretty much carried on from there. And then I know after the Masters, he was he's going to be down. It's just one of those things, losing in a playoff. But he stepped up the next week, and that showed a lot of encouragement and like winning power, if you can put it that way. And then it just motivates me. And I'm a very close mate with him and a good friend to his family and things like that. So he's definitely been there showing me the ropes and things like that, and giving me advice around the corner, which what might help me in the future. And I think it was a big help to him as well. The reason why I won the Daniel, I had a practice round with him where he gave me some ins and outs from when he played well in the British, and obviously to help having Zach on the back, because he was with him at that stage. But Louis has been great, so it's a big thanks to him this year.
Joy.
Branden, your caddy Zach won the caddy of the year this year. How important has been his role in this 1 year with you?
He's been great. We started working together to a school. That was the first week. So, the rest is history, you can say. Ever since he's got on the bag, things have gone my way and things. And, we still get along pretty well, and we still enjoy working with each other. I get a little bit of goosebumps, when we're playing well, the way he handles himself out there. He always, if you have the winning putt or things, he always jumps to get the flag off the flag. It's things like that. It's little stupid things like that shows you that this guy is really keen on what he's doing. So that's been great. And I think he was a bit disappointed not getting the Caddy of the Year award when he won the British Open with Louis. But it's been great that you know, I was given the chance to make sure that he can get that this year. So so it's been great. So.
Go on, Joe.
Of all the South African greats that you grew up seeing, who was your role model? Who was your idol?
Well, obviously you look up to some of your own compatriots. You know, Ernie has always been a great mentor for South African golf and even Gaia player. But you know, when I grew up, it was Tiger. You know, Tiger was always the guy I wanted to meet, always the guy I wanted to play with, and always the guy that, you know, that's how I wanted to handle myself on a golf course. You know, I've studied his swing over and over and watched all of his DVDs and things like that. And you know, it's just one of those guys where, you know, you want to be Tiger. So he's definitely been my role model.
Carl.
You actually played with Tiger before.
I did, yeah. I had that was awesome. I had the opportunity at the Bridgestone. The first 3 rounds, I got paired with him, which was nice, and obviously a bit nerve-wracking the first couple of holes every day. But you know, the type of guy he is, he just made it fun out there. I've heard a lot of guys say, Westy, Ernie, and Louis said, you know, he's pretty much going to be one of the nicest guys you ever play with, and that was the fact. He was, he still is, and I look forward to getting out there with him again in the future.
Of course, Louis take that membership now at the PGA Tour. Is that something you see down the road for yourself?
I might do. You know, at the moment, I just want to focus in Europe. I think I've literally just found my feet here now. I don't want to just jump into new things now and then you have to start all over again. I think this is the place where I want to play golf for the next couple of years, and you know, then you never know what happens. If you can establish yourself in the top 50 on a regular basis and even moving up to the top 20 in the world, then you never know. You know, I think if you're in the top 50, you get to play a lot in the States anyway. So all the majors, WGCs and things like that. So as soon as I can get all that experience under the belt, then I might do in the future.
So given what's happening this year, looking forward to next year, how difficult is it to kind of temper expectation? And you know, are you conscious of having to kind of not want too much too soon?
No, I've actually been very hungry. You know, it's just you know, after my first season on tour, I fell away. I had to go back. You know, did a couple of years on the challenge, and you work hard to get where you do, to where I am now. And you know, so at the moment, I still just want to hit forward and keep going. It's pretty tough now. I must say, I'm looking forward to a good break after. You know, I've got 2 more events in South Africa. Then I'm looking forward to having a month off and that, and you know, just to recharge the batteries and really be able to sit down and say, okay, what is the goals now for next year, and just start over, but you know, still going forward. But you know, I think a year like this you can't forget. You know, it's literally been a dream year, and you know, I think there's a lot of events now you can look forward to playing and forward to winning. You know, so now instead of just winning a European event, now you can put your mind to winning certain ones. And you know, I think this year my goal would actually be for next year winning maybe more on links courses. I think that's where I've played some of my best golf this year. So I'm looking forward to those challenges.
There you go, mate.
South Africa is obviously a very proud and successful sporting nation. Just curious to know whether you have a relationship with anyone outside of golf, be it from the Proteas or the Springboks.
Yeah.
Maybe Jack Callis or a Morné Steyn, and what their relationship is, whether it's been someone you've looked up to or sorts of counsel.
Yeah, it's been great. You know, I think which is nice is, you know, when you achieve something in sport, you know, they see it out of the same eye, which has been great. Sports-wise, you know, I've met a couple of the football players in England, Johnny Evans and John O'Shea. I play golf with them on a regular basis when I'm there, so you know, that's pretty cool. And just South African-wise, you know, I'm very good mates with Victor Matfield and Furi de Pre and a couple of those guys. So, you know, it's nice to be able to go back to them and they ask you, listen, how did it feel doing that? You know, and you pretty much say, why are you asking me this stuff? How did it feel winning the World Cup? You know, things like that. And it's nice to compare stories like that and give your different your different views on sport and things. But yeah, so it's been great to have people like that, you know, involved in my sport and following me.
Okay, guys. Branden, many thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Good luck this week.
Brother.